would appear for the first time on a New York stage. It was a heavy role, too. She was to play a role in a play called Extremities, and Pat Collins is here to tell us about that.
Morton, at one time, her face was on the cover of every magazine, with the possible exception of Field and Stream. There were Farah dolls and Farah clothes, and of course that poster which outsold Marilyn Monroe's. The Farah phenomenon grew out of her 1 year on Charlie's Angels. Miss Fawcett quit series television to make movies, most of them undistinguished, but somehow, through it all, she has learned to act well enough to take on the demanding role in Extremities, an off-Broadway play about attempted rape and revenge. Miss Fawcett plays a young woman who, after being physically brutalized, puts her attacker in a makeshift cell in the living room fireplace.
Don't stare at me. I can't pull the covers up over my head and pretend it was a bad dream. Forgive me for surviving! Maybe you care more if you came home, tripped over my body, and found the animal waiting for you. God, what is going on here?
Every day in rehearsal, I'd find out something else. I found limitations that I wasn't aware of. And the director said, I think that you can take that farther. And I said, really? I really feel like a maniac on the stage. He said, no, I see that you have it in you. And so I did.
Were you surprised that you had this, well, I guess I'd have to say it, violence in you?
I actually was surprised that I allowed people to see that I had it in me. I knew, of course, that I had it in me. It's not something that I like to face about myself. Not that it's a negative, but it's just, you do like to keep a few things private. I know that when I pick up the knife for the first time and I look at him, there's a part of me that so much wants to hurt him, and then there's a part of me that thinks, like all women do, he'll bleed, it'll go on the chair, he'll hurt himself, there'll have to be stitches, there'll be a scar. Oh my God, I mean, you know, a woman's mind does that. Just, I mean, how many times have you wanted to pick up an object and throw it and thought, how much did this cost? Or do I want to break this? I'll throw something else, or do I want to mess up the floor because I have to clean it up? You know, all of those things.
Was it a career risk to do the play?
I think anything I do is a career risk. At this point, I'm so visible. I've had so many things written about me, so many things said, true and untrue, expectations, you know, that anytime I do something, it is major news. So, yes, you know, there's a great deal of importance placed upon it. But I did this for myself, and I've said this all along. I've done a lot of roles where there wasn't particularly a character. Maybe I created one, and maybe I didn't some of the times. Because, you know, lines have to be there, a story has to be there. It's much easier to do something like this and to go all the way with it than to do a simple movie of the week for television where you're playing it safe.
Was it a problem to be on this stage without beautiful clothes, makeup, hairdo, the whole thing?
Well, I think that once an actor, at least this is how I feel, steps onto a stage in front of all these people, doesn't matter what you're wearing, you feel so bare. There's not enough that you can do to cover yourself. And then to come out here dressed the way I am, which is in a t-shirt and with no makeup and with hair askew, and I don't know if it took more guts. My point is that you feel bare up here anyway.
In retrospect, was it the right decision to leave Charlie's Angels after one season?
The challenge was gone, the creativity was being stifled, and at that point, I don't feel anyone should do anything. You know, you're not doing yourself any good or anyone else.
Have you ever, now that there's some distance between doing it and not doing it, analyzed your impact in the show?
I've read lots of things where people did try to analyze it. Was it the hair? Was it the teeth? You know, I would like to think it was the acting, but that's the thing that people give me the least credit for with that particular show, so I don't know.
Opening night, Farrah Fawcett stage debut, New York audience, New York critics. Were you nervous?
Well, there's a moment when I'm standing up at the top of the stairs before I get the cue light to come down. I really thought about running away. And that they would just have to say whatever they said. She's ill, she's fainted, she's dead, I don't know. And then I thought, no, I have to do this. I wanted to do it. I'm gonna do it. Come on, I can do it. And so I did it.
And she did, surprising the New York critics. She got very good reviews. She seized the moment. I think she realized, wait a minute, everyone in this critical audience is looking at me, and I better pull this off or not. Which do you prefer, the new Farah or the Farah that we had?
I admire people like that who say there will be no limitations placed on me, and I'm going to break out, and break out she did.
Yes,
I really
that's right.
admire
Good.
that. I like the new Farah, and we'll be back with more news.
Yes, so do we. We all do, yes. Pretty, I think.
Coming up, how to get kids off junk food. 14 minutes before the hour. This portion of the CBS Morning